when you use the bandhas for meditation, as we've done in the past, you can tell how using Mula Bandha by lifting through the base of the body brings the pelvis into the proper shape, proper position. And then Uddiyana Bandha gives you the lift and the lightness in the torso. So in a meditation practice, what it's doing is it's helping you to not sink into your hips and have your legs fall asleep, which is very common in meditation practices, that the legs fall asleep because the torso is sinking down on it. Many times we're hitched forward slightly, we don't even realize it. Now in meditation, because you're sitting for a while, you'll notice it because your body starts to fidget, your body starts to feel uncomfortable. But in an asana practice, you don't notice it as much because you're moving consistently. So you may not realize when you're not breathing, if you're holding your breath, if the body is not in a proper alignment, and how you may be adjusting your breath because of that. And most of the time, how we adjust the breath when there's a misalignment is we don't breathe. The body goes into almost, I don't want to say panic, but the body knows it's not in right and not in its correct alignment. So the breath suffers because of that. So we hold the breath because the body's like, oh, I'm in distress, and you get tight, and it automatically creates this lack of prana, this lack of movement in a healthy way. Once you put yourself back into proper alignment, the body likes that. So the body, that's what we talk a lot about Tadasana alignment. When you're in Tadasana alignment, having everything stacking, the body gravity is kind of drawing down in the right areas. You're able to sustain that upright position easily without any strain on any part of the body because everything is doing the job it's meant to do. Same thing with the asana practice. When you move in that way, the body is going to respond in a much better way. So in this case, the bandhas are used for alignment. So we'll talk about that first. So by lifting Mula Bandha, you won't have to guess where your pelvis should be. So think about if you are in, let's say you're in Warrior 2 is a good example, and how that back hip may hitch up. If you were using Mula Bandha, you would automatically find the proper alignment. Same thing with Warrior 1. If you're hitching, a lot of times if people are tight in their hamstring and the back leg is straight, that will make the pelvis tilt forward. Then their torso will tilt forward, and then they'll lift up their chest, sit right in the lower back. So by utilizing Mula Bandha, you'll feel where your pelvis needs to be, and that might actually encourage you to bend your back knee if that was needed, because you'll feel, well, when I'm using Mula Bandha, I'm not able to straighten out my pelvic area unless I bend my back knee. So now your body is telling you what it needs to come back into Tadasana alignment. In Warrior 1, the shoulders over the hips are going to be your Tadasana alignment. And if you're unable to get that to happen, then tendency to jam into the lower back and also hold the breath there as well. Easeful practice happens when we have the bandhas working. Mula Bandha we use pretty much all the time throughout the entire practice, except for when we come to the more relaxing poses in Shavasana. Okay. So any standing pose, definitely. You can use it also in a prone back bend. You might not notice the effects of it as much, but think of any time you're in the active portion of your practice, you want to use it. When you're seated, you'll want to use it. But once you get to the point where you just want to relax a little bit, then you don't need to use it anymore. So that's Mula Bandha. Yeah. Uddiyana Bandha, again, also used throughout the active practice. So that mostly the standing practices during your twists. It can also and should be used during your seated poses as well, because that's going to get the lightness of your torso, like I mentioned earlier about with meditation. When you're sitting and the weight of your torso presses down, it can create issue with the lower back. But using Uddiyana Bandha correctly, navel in and up, gives you that lift. So in yoga practice, we always talk about as a cue, navel draws in and up. creating Uddiyana Bandha all the time. Like it's part of what we cue. But as we get deeper into the practice, and as a practitioner and also as a more advanced teacher, the bandhas become something that we become a little more intrigued with. And it's a great thing to incorporate into the practice. Absolutely. Because again, it's in this case, what we're talking about right now, as far as alignment, what it does for alignment is it helps you to find it. It helps you to find it, and it helps you to breathe deeper.